friends, at the start of the movie, we are informed that the threat of zombies is increasing rapidly. These undead creatures have started invading human settlements, living among people, and turning them into prey. The zombies feed on human brains, which is the only thing that satisfies their hunger. Recently, a party was organized in a place called Netherlands, where zombies attacked and created chaos. They fed on human brains to satisfy their hunger. After this, we are introduced to the story's main character, Colonel Darcy, a man tasked with eliminating zombies. He receives a report of a zombie attack at a nearby castle and heads there to investigate. Before entering the palace, Darcy is subjected to a search, and his clothes are removed to ensure he isn't infected. Once inside, he finds the environment calm and serene. Darcy meets a woman named Featherstone and begins questioning her about the zombie situation. Featherstone insists that the area is completely safe and claims that no zombie has been seen for the last 2 years. Darcy, however, explains that zombies are hard to identify, because initially they behave just like normal humans until they consume a few human brains. Only then do they begin to show signs of transformation. Darcy believes Featherstone's words, but decides to stay a little longer under the pretense of playing cards. While playing, he pulls out a bottle containing special flies. These flies have the unique ability to detect zombies. They only sit on the corpses of the undead. As soon as he opens the bottle, the flies land on a man sitting nearby, revealing him to be a zombie. Without wasting a second, Darcy kills the man and prevents the spread of infection. Upon checking, he finds a bite mark on the man's hand, confirming he was indeed turning into a zombie. Darcy once again questions Featherstone about whether anyone else in the castle is infected. She denies any knowledge. Darcy then leaves the place. But suddenly, a girl runs upstairs and enters the room of the king's daughter. To her horror, the princess's face is grotesque and zombified. Before the girl can alert anyone, the princess attacks her and makes her the next victim. Next, we are introduced to Mr. Bennett, the father of 5 courageous daughters. Not only are these sisters beautiful, but they are also highly skilled in martial arts. Their mother, however, disapproves of them being trained in combat. That evening, the 5 sisters attend a party where a well-known gentleman named Bingley is present. Bingley becomes instantly attracted to Jane, one of the sisters, and asks her to dance. Jane agrees. Jane's sister, Elizabeth, also shows interest in dancing with Bingley's friend, Colonel Darcy. But he refuses her, leaving Elizabeth hurt and embarrassed. Upset, Elizabeth leaves the party. Outside, she encounters Featherstone, who is now transformed into a zombie. Featherstone attempts to share some secrets with Elizabeth, but Darcy arrives and shoots him before he can say much. Moments later, more zombies appear and begin attacking the party. The 5 sisters spring into action, showcasing their incredible fighting skills and destroying the zombies. Even Bingley and Darcy are stunned by their combat abilities. The next day, Jane leaves for Bingley's house after receiving an invitation for tea. But on her way, zombies ambush her. Jane bravely fights them off, but she gets wounded and is left bleeding. When she regains consciousness, she finds herself at Bingley's home. Darcy brings Elizabeth over to visit Jane and secretly releases the flies from his bottle again. But Elizabeth catches all the flies before they can reveal anything suspicious. A doctor checks Jane and confirms she hasn't been bitten. She's safe. Jane's family arrives shortly afterward, bringing her joy. Elizabeth and her family eventually leave with Jane, but Bingley is visibly heartbroken by Jane's departure. He had started to fall in love with her. Soon after, Elizabeth's cousin, Mr. Collins, visits and expresses his desire to marry Jane. However, Elizabeth's mother refuses his proposal because she wants Jane to marry the wealthy Bingley. To appease Collins, Elizabeth's mother suggests he propose to Elizabeth instead, but Elizabeth refuses the match outright. Later, Elizabeth and her sisters travel with Collins to a castle in London. The road seems clear at first, but they soon encounter zombies. When a female zombie approaches them, they manage to kill her using strategy and skill. Eventually, they reach the castle where they are welcomed by a man named Wickham. Soon, Bingley also arrives at the castle and is overjoyed to see Jane safe. To celebrate her recovery, a grand party is organized. Darcy, however, remains distant, and Elizabeth notices tension between him and Wickham. Curious, Elizabeth asks Wickham about his history with Darcy. Wickham reveals that they are half-brothers. Despite being raised together, Wickham claims Darcy never accepted him as family. He says that after their father's death, Darcy became cruel toward him. Elizabeth feels sympathy for Wickham and agrees to meet him at Bingley's party, even though she initially refuses. At the party, zombies once again attack and Elizabeth's sister goes missing in the chaos. Elizabeth and Bingley head out to find her, but in the darkness, Bingley slips and falls. Zombies close in on Elizabeth. Just as things seem dire, Darcy appears like a hero and saves her by slaying the zombies. He mistakes Bingley's condition for a zombie infection and prepares to kill him, but Elizabeth stops him, explaining he merely fell. Darcy realizes his mistake and takes Bingley away. Later, Darcy and Bingley head to England, and Bingley's sister sends a letter to Elizabeth, claiming Bingley is now set to marry Darcy's sister. But Jane believes he still loves her. Collins returns and once again proposes to Elizabeth, but she refuses him again. Her mother becomes furious, and in frustration, Elizabeth wanders into the forest. There, she spots 4 strange men and becomes anxious, but Wickham shows up. He takes her to a mysterious church, which turns out to be filled with zombies. Wickham explains that these zombies are not dangerous. They consume pig brains instead of human ones. He believes the king should let them live peacefully among humans. But Elizabeth argues that the king will never allow this and would destroy them upon learning the truth. Upon returning home, she finds that her 3rd sister has agreed to marry Collins. Before the wedding, she needs a safe place to stay, requiring Queen Catherine's permission. Elizabeth accompanies her to the palace, where she discovers Darcy is Catherine's nephew. There, Elizabeth introduces Wickham to the Queen, who shares his ideas about zombie-human coexistence. But Queen Catherine refuses. Wickham pleads, saying zombies are quick to train and could be allies. Darcy is asked to convince the Queen, but he refuses, angering Elizabeth even more. Later that night, Wickham tells Elizabeth that Bingley and Jane broke up because of Darcy. Wickham professes his feelings and asks Elizabeth to run away with him, but she refuses. The next morning, Darcy proposes to Elizabeth, but she, still angry, rejects him and accuses him of breaking Jane and Bingley apart. Darcy leaves silently, but later sends Elizabeth a letter. In it, he explains that he overheard Elizabeth's mother saying all daughters would marry for wealth. To protect Bingley from a potentially greedy family, Darcy distanced him from Jane. He also reveals Wickham's true nature, that after wasting his inheritance, Wickham tried to elope with Darcy's younger sister for her wealth. Elizabeth finally realizes Wickham's deceit and regrets her treatment of Darcy. Meanwhile, her younger sister reveals that Wickham has kidnapped their sibling and taken her to the zombie church. Elizabeth prepares to rescue her sister. Before she can leave, Queen Catherine arrives with guards. The Queen warns Elizabeth to stay away from Darcy and refuses to let her attend social events. Elizabeth refuses, and a fight breaks out between her and the guards. Despite being overpowered, she manages to kill one of the guards and impresses Queen Catherine, who then grants her permission to see Darcy. Elizabeth and her sister begin their journey. Meanwhile, Bingley is attacked by zombies, but Jane arrives just in time to save him. Their love rekindles. Darcy, however, is surrounded by zombies, but Elizabeth arrives and saves him. She tells him her sister is in danger. Darcy informs her the church collapsed 5 days ago. Despite this, Darcy goes to search for her sister, and Elizabeth follows. At the church, Darcy confronts Wickham, who demands Darcy's father's watch in exchange for the girl. Darcy refuses. Wickham gets angry and attacks, but misses. Zombies close in. Darcy escapes with the sister, while Wickham is overwhelmed. Darcy tells the girl to flee and prepares to fight, but Wickham attacks again. Elizabeth arrives and severs Wickham's hand, saving Darcy. Meanwhile, Bingley orders the destruction of the bridge to stop the zombie invasion. Just then, Darcy and Elizabeth return triumphantly. Darcy collapses, gravely injured. Elizabeth, fearing she has lost him, weeps and confesses her love. The scene shifts to the castle, where it's revealed that Darcy survived. He proposes to Elizabeth again, and she says yes. They get married, along with Bingley and Jane. But as the celebrations begin, Wickham is shown leading a new zombie army toward the castle. The film ends on this cliffhanger. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to stay updated. See you in the next video. Till then, bye and take care.